Gentlemen, today my second period voted this problem, problem G, as the most difficult problem of page 32. And I thought, you know what, I'm just going to help them out solve this problem by creating a video. The first thing that I'd like for you to remember is whatever you do to one side of the equation, you must do to the other in order for it to remain balanced. If it's not balanced, it's going to teeter-totter and it's not going to remain true. So whatever we do, we must do to both sides and the equation will remain balanced. So the first thing that I noticed, and you guys all said, oh, it's hard because it has fractions and both of them are fractions and I don't know what to do. So one of the things that we learned earlier was we can get rid of a fraction by multiplying by the denominator. In this case, I could multiply by 4, both sides by 4, and it'll make it a little bit simpler. So the first thing that I'm going to do is multiply by 4 on both sides to remove that 4 from the left-hand side of the equation. So when I do this, I have 4 times 4m minus 3 over 4 is equal to 4 times negative 9 plus 4m over 8. When I do this, ladies and gentlemen, this is the actual step that comes in between. This is me showing the work. The actual result of that will come down here. Remember, the 4 times the 1/4, because that is actually a 1/4, they will divide each other out and create a 1. One of my secrets to algebra, right? Create ones and zeros. That leaves me on the left-hand side with 4m minus 3 being equal to, now on the right-hand side, when I multiply by this 4, well, 4 goes into 8 2 times. So this 4 will divide 4 from down here, leaving me with 2 in the bottom. Now, on the right-hand side of the equation, I am left with negative 9 plus 4m over 2. Once again, now I have another denominator that I need to get rid of. How will I do that? Well, simple. I will multiply by that denominator. And you know what? I see that negative sign. I don't even want it there. So I will get rid of it by multiplying by the inverse of that division of 2, which is 2. But since I want to get rid of that negative sign, I'll multiply by negative 2 on both sides. Once again, I still want to remain balanced, so therefore I am going to continue here and do to both sides. So on the left-hand side, I have negative 2 times the quantity of 4m minus 3. On the right-hand side, negative 2 times the quantity of 9 plus 4m, that's negative, over 2. At this time, I'm going to distribute, which is typically one of my first steps, and it's super easy, but negative 2 times 4 is negative 8m. Negative 2 times that negative 3 is a positive 6, which will then give me negative 8m plus 6. On the right-hand side, that negative 2 and that 2, or that 2 and the 2 will divide each other out, creating 1. So now I have negative 1 and times negative 1. Those will divide each other out or multiply each other out to create a 1, leaving me with just 9 plus 4m on the right-hand side. Now I have a much easier equation to solve. By doing so, I now have to think of what's going to be easier for me to do. If I remember my steps, step 1 was to use the distributive property. Step 2 was to collect like terms. That's already been done. All my like terms have been collected. Then I want to add to get variables on one side. And that's what I'm going to do. I have to make a decision. Do I want to put my variables on the left side? Do I want to put my variables on the right side? This brings up a very important discussion. What would make it easier, since I want positive variables? And if I get rid of this negative 8m, I get rid of it by adding 8m on both sides. So I'm going to add positive 8m on both sides. Negative 8m plus 8m creates a 0 pair. 0 plus 6 is just 6. Once again, remember, another secret to algebra. 0. On the right-hand side, I have 9 plus 4m plus 8m is 12m. Once again, my next step that I've been dealing with was to add, and that was to get numbers on other side. So now I need to get that 9 to the opposite side of the equal sign. How am I going to do that? Well, I'm going to add the opposite of the 9. What's the opposite of that 9? I'm going to add negative 9 on both sides. 6 plus a negative 9 results in negative 3. 9 plus negative 9 is 0. Once again, another one of my secrets of algebra. 0 plus 12m is just 12m. According to my last step on page 28, I need to multiply. And this is like the simplified version, right? And we need to multiply so we can get the answer with just a variable is equal to just a number. In this case, we're going to multiply by the reciprocal of 12. And that will be to multiply by 1/12 on both sides. 3 times negative 3 times 1/12, well, that's negative 3 over 12, is equal to 12 times 1/12. 12 times 1/12 is 1. 1 times m is just m. And I've got my answer. It's not simplified, but it's super easy to simplify. And I'm going to write this as 3 goes into 12 4 times, so it's 1/4 negative. This is my solution. Once again, to recap this problem, the first thing that I did was get rid of that 4 in the bottom. I did that by multiplying by 4, and that cleared that side. Once I got this piece, I multiplied by negative 2 to remove that denominator. Then I just did the problem the rest of the way, and I started off by adding 8, which is the opposite of negative 8 on both sides. Then I added negative 9 to remove that 8 from both sides. And then I multiplied by 1/12 on both sides to get m equals just a number. Once I got my answer, I then simplified it, and that is my final solution.